Senior digital marketing manager at Kia, but I basically manage a lot of the web and digital platforms, such as Tier 1 websites, and then Tier 2, which is a network of regional websites, and then all the web platforms that we have, such as AI bots, non-AI bots, and then our apps, VR, AR. So anything that plays out in the digital realm somehow goes through me and my department.
So what is Kia's main goals and objectives for 2019 as it relates to marketing and digital marketing?
Well, the organization's objectives, of course, selling cars, that's why we're there. But when it comes to marketing, we have to look at the challenges that we currently have. For example, we know that we make a good product. We've been the top-ranked brand on J.D. Power 4 years in a row, and in Consumer Reports we're doing great. We broke a record in TSP Plus safety out there in 2018, following it with 2019. But at the same time, when we look at our customers, we're not really top of mind for them. They're not thinking about us. The first thing they want to go buy a volume model, they think about Toyota and Honda and Nissan and everybody else who has a bigger market share. So we're the challenger brand there. So how do we become top of mind? So we need to start developing an emotional connection as a brand with our customers. Now, once you build that emotional connection, once you tap into their values and what they care about, so how do we follow that up with a great customer experience? So for the digital marketing side of things and overall marketing for Kia, we want to be your friend. We want to be top of mind for you, but at the same time, we want to be a friend you really like, who you have an emotional connection with, so that once you go to a dealership and normally it's a horrendous experience, we want to be the brand that is actually going to take your hand, give you enough tools and information to help you within that journey to, bring down the hours you spend at the dealerships by getting everything ready. You pop in, take a look at the car, you like it, great, here are the keys, and then sign and drive off.
So how do you stay top of mind, or how do you get to be top of mind, and what agencies do you work with to make that happen?
So right now, our strategy for being top of mind is basically, again, elevating those values that are important for the brand and knowing our customers and what they care about, and basically being very vocal about, hey, here's the other things that we do within society and within your neighborhoods. And in order to do that, we partner with over 20 agencies within different functions of marketing, but I mainly work with Canvas that manages our organic and paid search. Our agency of record for digital is Ansible, that basically does content creation, content management. David and Goliath is our main creative and basically TV ad agency. We have Car Labs for our AI chatbot platforms. We have Marchex for call tracking and speech analytics. So I can go on and on, but those are mainly the agencies I work closely with.
And then what data sources do you leverage to inform new content creation, and what metrics do you look at?
Where do I start? So all the agencies that I mentioned, and on top of that, so to put it clearly, is we get all of these Polk and IHSS data, and basically it's the target, the audience, here's what they care about, but at the same time we have a lot of analytics in place within the platforms I mentioned. For example, we go through call scripts one by one. We have an AI platform that basically searches, looks for trends, alerts us that, hey, you're having more than 5 calls today that is basically asking this certain question. It means that there's a content gap, you have to go in, fix it. Or call your dealerships and let them know that you guys got to do a better job with answering this certain question. Another thing is that we have Omniture Analytics set up on basically the whole website, and our tier 2 as well. So we look at where customers get stuck within their journey as they're going to the website. Did we get them to a dead end? Did they bounce because that page took too long to load, or the content wasn't interesting enough? And of course, we look at search information as well to see whether or not what content we're creating the customer is actually looking for. They're actually interested in what we have to say. So putting all of that together, that's why we sometimes need to work with over 10 agencies to basically take all those data points and give it to a data analyst and a data scientist, and basically trying to find how we can combine and aggregate all of them.
How does that go? I mean, is that a smooth process, or was it a learning curve? Or?
Yes, definitely a learning curve. We just started doing it actually towards end of 2016, I would say, yes. No, end of 2017, we started doing it with the launch of our Stinger, which was a super cool sport car that was coming out, and it was supposed to be a halo product for us. And we said, you know what, let's do something different. And basically that's what we did. We took all these different data points. We did extensive testings with our customer groups to first understand what they want to know about this car. We did content gap analysis, we did competitive analysis, and basically what we put together for that car is still the main traffic driver for Kia.com. The Stinger content and those pages perform 20% better than every other model that we have because we took the time. It took us about, I would say, 5 to 6 months to basically put everything together, but it was worth it. It was a pilot and it did great.
And then you have a really interesting linguistics strategy. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So the linguistic strategy that we have basically puts content themes together, and then under that content structure, and under the content structure, then we go to the information architecture. Now, what does that mean? It means that our search agency, Canvas, actually looks at what people are searching in different browsers, what they're looking for in terms of organic search, and then we look at historical data we have off of our search campaigns to see which one performs better, what's the demands, what's the performance. We aggregate all of that information, again on top of gap analysis. We basically come up with certain keywords, and I know a lot of people, based on conversations this morning, there's a debate about keywords, but the way we use it, we basically put in a lot of keywords to build our content around. So if I want to give you an example, is that, for example, we look at, let's say, an SUV that we want to launch, and we figure out whether or not people are searching for that certain type of SUV as a third row seating SUV or a mid-size SUV or an 8-passenger SUV. We figure that out, and we basically try to hit all the points. We go with the highest one, but in the metadata, in the tagging, in the content and copy itself, we try to basically focus on everything that they have searched for to make sure that our content is relevant. Because to a lot of people, mid-size SUV doesn't mean anything, but if you mention, hey, it has a third row, they're like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I understand the size for it. Or for example, we launched, we have 2 models that are basically 5 doors. Now we figured out that people are not calling them 5 doors, they're calling them hatchbacks. So why should we just, go ahead and keep insisting on them being 5 doors? Just call them hatchbacks. That's what people know. Or we have a K900 model that is a luxury model, but we learned that people are not calling it luxury. Yes, it is luxury, but they're calling it premium sedan. Okay. So that's how we basically adjust our way of thinking about what the consumer wants to see in terms of content.
I think maybe keywords is, it's going to be different between organic and paid search, and that's what I think is.
Yeah, we focus mostly on the organic part of it.
So keywords used to search for features. Also, can you tell also can tell you a lot about lifestyles and things like that. How does Kia sort of build maybe an audience based on their lifestyles and the keyword?
So a good example to give is the launch of our Telluride, which is an SUV that's coming out next year. So as we were putting the linguistic profile together for that vehicle, we already had general data that, hey, some key points are going to be really, really important for an SUV overall. For example, we know safety is very important. Interior is is the feature that is going to sell the car. And then people care about performance, and also they care about, it was performance, and then exterior comes at the fourth important point. Sure, we have content around all of those, but then we realize that, all right, when we say performance, it's not what we think they care about. They're actually putting MPG there as well. Now, I wouldn't put MPG under performance. I would put it under efficiency when I want to talk about fuel and how much you get to save. But no, they were actually looking at that. And when we talk about technology or, let's say, safety, I talk about the structure of the car, crash testing, seat belts, all of that. No, they were actually, our customers were actually asking it about backup camera for safety. We usually don't categorize it like that. But so we took all of that data points, and we also aggregated what we had through our chatbot, what questions they were asking. And instead of starting from exterior, interior, technology, safety, we started building the content around safety, started with safety, and basically built into interior, how that interior is going to give you all the technology that you need, even though you're not calling it technology and calling it safety. So we built around that, and based on, again, the audience data that we had, we knew that the target audience is going to be around 35 to 44 years old. This much annual income, they're mostly married, they have older children, so how can we categorize that, and how can we make everybody feel included in terms of content and also the imagery that we provide for that vehicle page? So as we dug deeper, we saw, all right, so we know they have older children, but we're not considering the concept of modern families, meaning they could be a couple that have 2 kids but are living with grandparents. They still need a third row in an SUV to be able to go around. You might have a young couple who don't have kids, but they love hanging out with their friends and other younger couples and going on road trips or going to restaurants or whatever in one vehicle. So we have to be very, very careful about the themes that we pick and the personas that we build around all of this information we have, because we did testings and people don't really like it when you assume they have a certain lifestyle. If they buy an SUV, you can't assume they have a large family. That at points it will offend them. So you have to make them feel included, and once you do that, once you figure out different levels of that persona, then you go into lifestyle. So if you're a family, are you an eco-warrior? Are you a commuter? Do you like luxury? So we basically cater to all those points. And hopefully when we have the new website launched, we can basically target dynamically and serve them personalized and customized information for that.
New website launch. When is that?
2019. Okay.
And then can you tell us a little bit about that new website, or?
Sure. So it's a global project that we're piloting for Kia Motors Korea. We started in the U.S. We went through 9 months of discovery and testing and basically doing competitive analysis and talking to our customers, seeing what they really care about. Because as marketers and as corporate, we think our users care about certain things, which are perceived values, that we attach to different personas in different categories, but actually when we talk to them, the real values are very different. So we had to kind of change our content strategy, we had to change our content built out. So we will have a whole new segment, new architecture, but at the same time, we're trying to keep it simple. It is in the roadmap to do customized and personalized imagery as well as content on the website. Hopefully, once we launch in 2019, it's going to roll out to the rest of the subsidiaries as well.
So will that content be dynamic?
A lot of it, yes. For example, if we geolocate you at Park City, we're not going to start with a compact sedan. Once you land on a website or on a page, we're going to start talking to you about a vehicle that has all-wheel drive, something that could support you in terms of, heating technology, like heated steering wheels and all of that. So a lot of imagery, yes. And a lot of content is going to be based on your browsing history as well. If you've been talking to us about an SUV, if you were on KBB looking at an SUV, I'm not going to start the conversation with you about a sedan. You're not interested. I'm not going to waste your time. So I'm going to go right to the point.
Will it also depend on whether you serve a still image or a video or something else? In
terms of type of content, yes, it has been done before, but what we're trying to do is create a hybrid when we put the storyboard together for that type of content. We try to keep it interesting, so we might start it with a really emotional video of, guy running up a hill and then car crossing a river and all of that. Keep it emotional, brief, and then give you the facts, horsepower, here's what's going on, here's what we care about, and then, all right, let me distract you a little bit with these imagery so you're interested still, push you down the content. And so I always like to create a hybrid of different types of content. And all right, if you're bored now, here's a chatbot that can actually take you through the conversation. If you're too tired or not interested enough to read everything, just ask it questions, and it's going to point you to all those different images and points of data, and it makes your life easier.
And how is that chatbot thing going?
It's going very well. So our chatbot, Keon, is actually the second chatbot that we built, and it's the first ever AI chatbot in auto industry that launched on Facebook. It's doing great. We have over 4 million users, and it has over 300K engagements per year. So a lot of conversations are happening. What we really love about Keon is the information we get about our users. An example would be, we had customers reaching out asking about a launch date, and they're like, when is this car coming out? When is this car coming out? And we're like, what do you mean, when is this car coming out? It's all over the website. And I was like, oops, it's not. Nowhere do we mention, not on our dealer websites, not on our website, we just say coming soon for like a year. Well, okay, when is it coming? So, points like that, it really helps us out to cater to every question that basically our user might have, and it's fun. And with Kia, we're lean, but at the same time, we try to keep it fun, and we go after technology, and we try to just be your friend when you need us.
Do you feed that information to the developers of features within the cars? So
we actually do, yes. A good example is our Soul model, and so that's the model with the hamsters and the music. So when we looked at all the information we had on Soul in terms of traffic and what kind of data everybody was looking at on the website, on Keon, as well as our call tracking, but we also did a lot of customer testing in person. So we basically went to our soul owners' houses. We looked at their furniture, the books they read. We looked at, the movies they have bookmarked on Netflix and all of that to understand them. And then we started talking to them. And in terms of their personal style, these soul owners love color. Like, they have pink hair, they have tattoos, they have interesting clothing. They talk about magic and Harry Potter and all of that. So we take all of that information, and basically the new soul that is coming out, you're going to see some of those features. When we say magic, you open up the trunk, there's another hidden compartment under. So it's magic. You open one, and then you open another door, there's another compartment. So that's when we say magic. In terms of colors and music, we have this Pantone mood lighting inside the vehicle that is basically going to react to the type of music that you are listening to. So we try to take little bits here and there, not just from the digital data that we have, but also from talking to our customers, and basically give them the model and the vehicle they're really going to enjoy.
Okay, so search and consumer feedback is actually changing the way that Kia is thinking about designing its cars, which is
Absolutely.
Pretty interesting. Ross, I can't see you, so.
Oh,
Yeah,
hi, I'm here. Yeah, it's because of that light right there.
I have another question, but I just want to
Yeah,
know
go for
how
it.
we are on time.
Oh, you can ask another question, and I've got some too.
Because we also talked about the emotional connection that you've learned through searches on the site, and I'm wondering, how are you turning those keywords and the emotional connection you're learning about into things outside of the website, like events or maybe donations to certain charities or.
So in terms of experiential, one thing we don't really talk about, we think it's bragging, is that we do a lot in the community as a company. We really love supporting the environment. An example that I really love to give is that, so we have these proofing grounds in Nevada, which is this huge plot of land with racetracks where we do our testing. And once the company purchased that plot of land, we actually relocated the turtles and the snakes to this other piece of land that we purchased just for those animals, because we didn't want to hurt them. So we actually located all the animals. We relocated them outside the fences so they don't get hurt. Or we have these outreach programs in Africa that happen every 6 months, and we build houses and hospitals and all of that. We have a break program that basically teaches defensive driving to teenagers, and it's free. You can just sign up with your parent. It's a whole Kia fleet, and you get to learn how to be a very safe driver. We rescue seals. So we do a lot, but one thing we haven't been doing well is talking about it, and basically letting our customer base know that, hey, we care. We have other values than building a great product. So as we do those, we're trying to build most of our commercials basically around what we do from now on, what we really care about, personalities and traits that represent the core of the company, and basically follow that up into content that you see on ads, on banners, on Kia.com, and all the other channels.
So you learn about this through search, which is in part. So that's kind of interesting.
Absolutely, yes. And asking our customers basically, all right, what do you know about us? What do you think we care about? And they didn't know much, to be honest. And then we would give them examples. Hey, this event is happening 2 blocks from your place. Did you know about that? And here's what we're doing. So it's just we have to do a better job of listening and at the same time communicating.
Great, thanks, Laurie. Thanks, Hoda. So I might have missed this. I was just wondering, this linguistic approach is really interesting. How long have you been doing it for? Like, how new is this?
We started doing it with the launch of our Stinger, which was end of 2017.
End of 2017. So what's been like the material impact since then? Like what have you learned? Like what's been like the number one learning for you in terms of your customers? And I mean, is the feedback good from them? For example, I mean, it sounds like you're opening yourself up to like this two-way communication. So like, what are they saying?
Well, we look at traffic. And so we have different. So when we did it for Stinger, we built different URLs, and we nested different content under those URLs and whatnot. And a lot of areas that we implemented a little bit of gamification. We kept it fun. Hey, here's the data. The rest of it is just graphics. You know, play with it or scroll it or roll it out. It just blew up. It means that, all right, it's not just about the type of information that you serve them, it's also how you do it. You have to keep it fun. Okay? If you have to play a game to find that kind of information, you bet they're going to play it. They're going to do it. They're going to spend time on that page. That was one of the learnings that we had in terms of gamifying all the information. Another one is that people really look at user-generated content and user stories, as well as all the information that the corporate actually gives them, because they want to identify with certain group of audiences that share the same value. And if you provide, editorials and reviews and all these UGCs that come in, it actually will change our customers' minds.
And has the UGC content kind of like increased since you started this initiative?
We actually launched UGC. It did really well. We have taken it down at the moment because we're redesigning that whole UGC process. Yes, and because we're tweaking the moderation of the content as well. So because, you have to aggregate at the same time, you have to get all those permissions and whatnot. So we're kind of playing around with that, and there are going to be changes. But the few months that we launched the UGC, it did really well. And people were even posting more. They were reaching out to us and saying, hey, if I post on my Instagram, will you guys feature it on your website? And we were like, yeah, absolutely. Here are the guidelines, if you want to get featured. And just send us an email. So we even got a request like that.
Great. So are you able to take some of these learnings and this data and apply it like all the way back up to TV and Tier 1 and all that old school stuff?
Yes, and that's what we do, basically.
Okay, awesome.
That's what we do. When we put our web strategy together, we basically take all of these points of data, and, of course, we have our HVAs and KPDs, and basically we try to map the whole customer journey and their micro moments and say, all right, if we hit it here, these are the results that you're going to actually get within either short-term or long-term, depending on what they are. But we are very transparent with the different tiers and the different departments that basically work on the customer journey.
Great. I think I just hogged all the question time. Sorry. Does anyone have a question for Hoda?
I actually have one more question.
Oh, Laurie's got another one.
Would you mind, Ross?
Oh, yeah. We have 2 minutes. Wait. Let's let the audience do if anyone wants to ask her anything quickly. Okay. All right, Laurie. Go ahead.
Sorry. You're a big Super Bowl.
Yes.
Yes. Brand. And I'm just wondering, how do you use search to inform your Super Bowl content?
Okay, how do we make our Super Bowl content searchable, or how do we?
Really, so how does Kia prepare and capture the traffic based on all the search demand on the search engines and YouTube, and how do you use that data to inform the type of Super Bowl ad that you're going to run?
So one good example, and I'll try to keep it short, but one good example is the launch of our Nero. If you remember that when it was Melissa McCarthy, it was the whole Eco-Warrior thing. And a little background on how we actually put that ad together was that when the Nero wasn't revealed yet and we started testing, we basically hit a Guinness World Record. We drove the Nero from LA to New York on 4 tanks of gas, and that's why it turned out to be the most fuel-efficient hybrid crossover ever built in the US. And we said, all right, this is technology on wheels. We have an eco story here. And then coming from our research that we did, all right, what do they care about? What is the audience? The audience, you know, doesn't take themselves seriously. They're funny. They care about their environment, all of that. That's how the whole ad came together. But then it wasn't enough for us to just have it in Super Bowl. So we created teaser content, smaller, snackable videos that would take only a few seconds. So we did all of that. And then, of course, we ended up with building a bot just for that ad. So we had NeuroBot that basically had the ad before airing on TV in there. So you had to like play a game, answer questions, and you get to see the ad. And when the ad was actually airing, we had a contest where you could enter a raffle and win little bits and pieces used on set by Melissa. Then we gave it out to you, and of course, afterwards, after all that was done, we retargeted everybody that interacted with that bot with, hey, the car's now available, hey, there's an offer on the car that you're interested in. So the way we did all of that was we directed all that traffic that came from ads and web and NeuroBot, and everything basically went to a few pages on .com. It was, I don't think we've been able to hit those numbers, like the numbers of likes we got on YouTube, the number of impressions and clicks that we got on our ads, the time spent on website. It's still a record on Kia.com. So normally, if done well, we don't just create an ad to create an ad. We try to say something about, you know, a value in terms of, for example, here, eco, right? It's eco, it's good for the environment, it's good for you, and tie it into all the other channels that we have as well.